Hi, I'm Angela Spignese, health and movement coach, and I'm here to give you my monthly Salsa.Sol.Food goals and update about what I was kind of focusing on for last month. So, to break it down for anyone who's new and watching, Salsa.Sol.Food is a method that I created to kind of focus on my health and wellness. Salsa represents physical activity, soul are nourishing activities like self care, and food is how we can form a better relationship with what we're eating, intentional eating, and just feel good about the food that we're putting into our bodies. So, for the month of February, it was my birthday month. I felt like I was very busy and did a lot of great things. For physical activity, I tried to focus on doing 2 yoga classes. I did, one of my friends recommended Yoga with Adriene on YouTube, and I did like one of her like sleepy time videos, like right before you go to bed, and that was nice. And then I also just did, I didn't actually get to a class or pay for it because I'm cheap, but I ended up doing like my own flow a couple of nights, and that felt good to do that. For the soul activity, like the self care, I went to community acupuncture in my city. And community acupuncture just means that you're sitting in like chairs while other people are also getting treatment. And it was about an hour, and I only paid $25. So that's really, really good. For a lot of alternative therapies, they're so expensive. So that was a deal. But I came to the realization that I'm not a huge fan of acupuncture because I deal with anxiety. So like having those, I'm not afraid of needles, but some of like one of the points on my arms where he put the needle, it it like sent a shock down my middle finger, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can sit here for an hour, and I did, but I highly recommend it because I think it's still a great way to have an affordable like treatment and self-care if you do enjoy it and see results. And then for my food for last month, it was to take 3 deep breaths before each meal. I felt that this was an easy thing to actually to do. I mean, easy in the sense that it's something that I just had to remind myself. Hard in the sense that when I'm hungry, I want to eat. So to stop to breathe is like a huge thing for me to actually be able to do it. But I feel like as I got in the habit, it was better, and I felt like my digestion was a little bit better. And even if I didn't mention in the first video, focusing on breath is really for our whole nervous system, it's amazing. But for me in particular, I struggle with some digestion stuff, so that's why I had focused on that. So I had felt like it was a great month, and so March is a new time. I'm just gonna pull up what I had wrote. Um, so yeah, so for the month of March for salsa, for like my physical activity, my goal is in particular is to sweat. Like do some type of like hot yoga, maybe go to a sauna, or I said to go for a run on my Instagram. I probably won't go for a run actually because I don't really enjoy running. But there's this doctor that I follow, Dr. Jessica Petros, on Instagram, and I recommend that if you're into health and wellness that you follow her as well. And she has a formula called Kill, Bind, Sweat. So for anyone dealing with like maybe it's like mold or heavy metal toxicity, which is most of the people in the world because we're just overwhelmed with so many toxins in our bodies. If you're dealing with like Lyme disease, any stealth infections, hidden infections in the body, she's a woman who really talks about it. Candida overgrowth is another thing. And so her method, Kill, Bind, Sweat, is she says to kill whatever like bad things are in the body. With typically she uses like an antimicrobial. That would depend on your specific case. You would have to work with her specifically. And then the bind is you take something like activated charcoal or some type of supplement that helps to bind those toxins out of the body, meaning like it will like pull them out. And then the sweat is when it actually is released from the body. And so she kind of says that if you're not sweating on a daily basis, that certain toxins aren't able to be released from your body. And some people aren't even able to sweat, which means that detox pathway is blocked. So that's like a whole nother story in and of itself. But I'm not following her protocol to a T because I'm not really working with her, but I do follow her and love her stuff. So I'm like, let me just take a piece of what I really like from her and try to focus on that. I've always had an issue sweating, whereas other people, it's like they over sweat. Even when I remember like when I was dancing the most I would dance a week, that would be the only time, like without being in like a hot environment, that I would be able to get like a full on like dripping sweat. So it takes a lot for me, and I know that's like another area that I really want to work on. So that's this reason behind the whole sweating. And then for the soul activity, for the self care, I said take some time to myself. I feel like I said February was a great month. I was busy. I was moving around a lot, and I still think I'll be busy for the month of March. But I definitely want to like hibernate a little bit more. And I think I also said like work on protecting my energy. So what does that mean, right? You're like, oh, that sounds kind of strange. But I went and saw this woman. I did a lymphatic drainage again. That was my birthday month, so I treated myself, and I'll post about that later. It was a really cool experience, and she was saying that like when she saw my body, she's like, your body's very open, and she's like, it gave her the impression that I feel a lot, and she could just tell that by doing the massage on me. And she didn't know anything else about me, and I said that's very true. Like I feel like I take on everything that's around me. I think a lot of people are empaths, and then you end up having a lot of stress or anxiety that isn't even yours. And so she said gave me this great visual of like a cocoon. And so I created this like visual of what my like little cocoon nest would look like. It's like all colorful, and I can like step in there to like protect my energy when I feel like I'm just giving too much. And so yeah, I really like that. Some of you might be like, well, what is she talking about? But I don't know, I think it's fun and it's creative, and it's free. It doesn't cost any money to visualize yourself like protecting your energy yourself, because we're exposed to so many things like social media, all toxins, food, toxic relationships, people that you might have to encounter at work that you don't want to see necessarily, or people that just have too much, or people that you're dealing with at work, if you're a doctor, if you're a teacher, if you're dealing with children. So I think protecting your energy is so important. And when she made that comment about me, I was like, how do I focus on being less open? I don't necessarily know. So that visualization is my first step towards kind of like exploring what that would look like. And then for food, I said try a couple of new breakfast recipes, because I always eat oats with like almond butter, peanut butter, or like banana, because it's really good on my stomach. I love breakfast tacos. That's what I've been making a lot as well. With like scrambled eggs, spinach, bacon. It's so good. But I'm like, let me like mix it up a bit. So I'll post a couple of recipes that I decide to make, just because I feel like it helps in the work week when you're, maybe struggling a bit, to have like that a great breakfast to start off your day, and something different that kind of excites me because I just love food so much. So yeah, those are my 3 goals. And again, I post these, I write them out because for me, I just personally like to see them and I want to share with others. And then I do a video because I know I like to elaborate a little bit on what I actually posted. And I'm going to post this to YouTube and then to Instagram TV. And I also wanted to say that I have started a podcast called the Salsa.Sol.Food podcast, produced by Mark Damon, my good friend. And he's really the only reason that I am able to have a podcast. So I'm very grateful to him and to his talent and his skills. And it's going to be a health and wellness podcast that will touch upon mental health, perioral dermatitis, skin health, dance, travel, just having like great conversations. And I hope to have guests on as well in the future. So if you can, subscribe or follow me, it's available on any major platform where you can listen to a podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. Share it with those, especially who you know are going through maybe like a health issue, or they just want to laugh, because we try to be funny. So yeah, thank you so much if you watch this video, and I look forward to talking to you next time.